What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. This is your host, Tony Mango, bringing you the predictions breakdown for Monday Night Raw's Roadblock End of the Line 2016 pay-per-view event. They're not actually calling it Roadblock 2016 because they already did a Roadblock in 2016. A little bit of a mess up there on their calendar, but End of the Line, I don't know why they decided to go with that one. Now they're trying to work that a little bit into one of their feuds with the Sasha Banks and Charlotte one. Anyway, we're going to get into a lot of the matches, everything that's been announced so far at this point, which the time that I'm recording this is actually well beyond what we normally do. Normally we try to take care of this Wednesday night because by that point, both Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown has been covered. If they are going to announce any other matches, they typically tend to either announce them by Wednesday or like the day before the pay-per-view. And I'm not putting up predictions the day beforehand. But as I mentioned in the hot tags, got some issues going on right now where I can't record at the same sort of time. So that's why I'm taking care of this ahead of time. So there may be some other matches that are added to the card. I'm pretty sure they're going to add at least one of them, which is going to be something with a tag team championship. So right now I'm just going to treat this as the matches that we're getting are static and speculate a little bit on maybe some other things. So before I get into the matches that actually are confirmed, let's try to predict what ones might be added to the card. And the only things that I can see happening here, there's a possibility of a couple things like Bayley versus Alicia Fox. I highly doubt that. Bayley's already beaten Alicia Fox twice, pretty soundly. So there's really not that much of an interest to kind of keep that feud going. There could be something with the Cruiserweight division where maybe they have another 6-man tag match. They've loved doing those on the pre-shows lately. So if they do that, I think that we're going to get Jack Gallagher, Lince Dorado, and Cedric Alexander against Mustafa Ali, Arya Daivari, and Noam Dar. But if they do a different Cruiserweight match, then I think more than likely we would just get Gallagher versus Arya Daivari. They seem to be the feud that's been getting the most amount of attention so far, but we might not even get that. Maybe we'll get Mark Henry versus Titus O'Neil. Those two have been in a feud that has been pushed aside because nobody really gives a shit, but maybe that's the perfect type of fodder for the pre-show. Either way, those are the matches outside of the tag team title that I could see possibly happening. I wouldn't put a whole lot of faith in them. The tag team title thing, that's different. It would be really odd if a couple days after the New Day passes Demolition's record, they're not even competing on the card, because that not only means that the New Day are left off, but the tag team titles are left off. Cesaro and Sheamus are. The Shining Stars and Golden Truth are, but they weren't really going to get a title shot anyway. Gallows and Anderson are left off the card. But here's the problem. We already did a triple threat match between Cesaro and Sheamus, Gallows and Anderson, and the New Day on Monday Night Raw. So do they just do the same match again? They could, but it's kind of weak. I don't know if that's really the best way to go. So I do think in some fashion we're going to get the New Day defending their titles against those two teams, probably in a triple threat. Maybe they're going to do something where they play rock, paper, scissors backstage and Cesaro and Sheamus win. More than anything, I think Cesaro and Sheamus could end up winning these titles rather than Gallows and Anderson. And I'm actually not thinking what I used to think. I used to think that they would be dropping these belts at Roadblock, but the New Day might just keep these for a little bit longer. I don't know if they're going to want to drop them at the most obvious route like this. It's like everybody's expecting it. So why not keep them for at least another couple weeks? Maybe you have them drop it, say, 3 Monday Night Raws before the Royal Rumble or something like that, where it would be like, whoa, out of nowhere, what the fuck? They just lost those titles? It all depends on their plans on who they want the new champions to be, because if they're going to go with Cesaro Sheamus, the sooner the better. If they go with Gallows and Anderson, it really isn't the sooner the better. It's more so when they have people set up to fight them, which right now I don't think that they do. And if they go with, say, like the Revival, then you're going to have to wait until after the Royal Rumble for that, because they're still tied up with everything with the whole Authors of Pain and all that. I'm starting to think more that the Revival is going to win these belts than anything else. So I'm actually pitching the idea. I think that if we do get a title match with the New Day, that they're going to retain no matter who they're up against, but wouldn't be surprising if they lost the belts this time. So that's just speculation. I mean, we don't know what anything else is going to be added to the card. It's not going to be Emelina making her appearance. It's not going to be Paige coming back or Big Show wrestling Bo Dallas or anything like that. So those are the matches that are potentially going to happen. And if anything crazy ends up being booked, then with the normal side of things with the predictions, you can always check out smarkoutmoment.com because I update those every couple of days or so. So that'll be my most up-to-date predictions. And then, of course, I'll have stuff written up on eWrestling News. I'll have stuff written up on Bleacher Report, all that kind of stuff. But the first match that I want to talk about that's officially confirmed is our kickoff match, Rusev versus Big Cass. Enzo has been in this whole thing with Lana. He wanted to fuck Lana. Can't blame him. She doesn't want to fuck him because she only wants to fuck Rusev. And it essentially turned into the big boys now have to fight because Big Cass can not really stand for somebody picking on Enzo, which makes a lot of sense. But it kind of makes me feel bad for Enzo a little bit because that guy is just being used as the punching bag to put over Big Cass. And I like Big Cass. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got a lot of upsides to him. And I think that eventually in the future, he's probably going to be a big, big player. But he's been kind of downgrading a little bit on the mic. And I haven't been enjoying him as much as I used to. So I don't think he's quite ready for a big push. And this is making me concerned that maybe they want to do that. Maybe they want to make Big Cass a mid-carder going into 2017 and sort of separate him a little bit from Enzo. If that's the case, Enzo needs Big Cass just as much as Big Cass needs Enzo. Rusev feuding with them is a little bit weird too. I haven't been digging this feud all that much. It seems like it's kind of like, it's not similar to the Rusev and Roman Reigns one, but it is in a way. I mean, they were feuding over a fucked up cake and the dress getting messed up and then basically nothing after that. This is a whole you trying to get with my girl type of thing and all that. But the Big Cass thing here, I'm not feeling it all that much. I'm a little bit down on this, and I don't think it's really going to go anywhere. So in the bottom line, I think the Big Cass is going to win this, but it might be a better idea for Rusev to win. It kind of depends on how much they really want to push these two going forward, because the Royal Rumble's coming up, and we're going to need as many decent guys to be in the mix of that as possible. But for the most part, we know it's going to boil down to about 6 names. We're going to have Goldberg and Lesnar. They're going to eliminate each other, but they're going to be the bigger stars. We know that we're going to get John Cena. There's a possibility, at least, of Finn Balor, and those two are still my top 2 picks. Roman Reigns is going to be involved. He'll be a major player. So will Seth Rollins, Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose. The same kind of names, but Rusev and Cass are 2 guys that if they're not in that upper tier in their minds, they're going to get lost in the shuffle. And if whoever wins this match can kind of propel themselves a little bit forward, get a little bit more momentum, then that could be the difference maker between being a guy who gets an elimination or who gets a quick elimination where you're being thrown out and made a joke of. I got a feeling that Big Cass isn't going to do as well in this Royal Rumble as some other people are going to think. And if he wins this match here, maybe I'll have to start changing my tune. But even if he wins the match, I still think that the grand scheme of things, Rusev is going to be in a better position come WrestleMania. Big Cass is probably just going to be a Battle Royal guy. And you know what? Maybe Rusev is too. I don't know. In the end, I don't think this means all that much. It's a random-ass feud. I don't think it's going to be carrying on for a bunch of months. I hope it doesn't at this point because it's really not selling me all that much. But if we get Naked Lana, then maybe I'll be okay with it. I don't know. I just don't want to see what they do behind closed doors. Just don't show me that. Either way, let's move on to Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn. We have 2 different matches on this card that are with time stipulations to them, oddly enough. This match is different, though. This has a 10-minute time limit. And I don't know how much they're really going to stick to that all that much. But what is being built up, at least following Monday Night Raw, is that Sami Zayn has 10 minutes to last with Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, of course, is going to try to decimate him and annihilate him as quickly as possible. And Sami Zayn is going to try to beat Braun Strowman. But you can't really have Sami Zayn beat Braun without making Strowman look a little bit weaker. Yet at the same time, if you have Strowman completely destroy Sami Zayn, where do you go from there? He's already destroyed him. So I actually like this quite a bit. I think that this is a smart decision because you can do that time limit draw and Braun Strowman can still look really dominant, but he just didn't quite get the job done. Maybe he kind of took his time a little bit too much and he gloated a little bit. Maybe he sort of danced around the idea of pinning him because he was like, you know what? You want 10 minutes? I'll give you 10 fucking minutes of this. You are not going to be able to withstand it, but I'm going to pick you back up, throw you back down, pick you back up again, throw you back down again. Maybe they're going to do that kind of a thing. I think that's the best way to go here. And for Sami Zayn to win the match, I would be pissed. For Strowman to beat him within the 10 minutes, I think can still be okay, although the overall smart decision, I think, is for that 10-minute to just, that bell to ring, for them to be like, no, the 10 minutes is up, that's the end of the match. Sami Zayn beat the hell, but he survived, and he proved that he can survive 10 minutes, which pisses Braun Strowman off. And then that can lead to another match, because eventually we do have to have a straight-up normal match between the two again. And then with that one, Sami Zayn probably still should lose. I don't think that Braun Strowman needs to lose anytime soon. I've been digging him a lot, actually. I think that he's been doing some really good work. And I don't want to see them lose this kind of streak that he's on. It's not really a streak. He's lost in his career. But at the same time, I want him to stay as dominant as possible for as long as possible. Still hoping that he wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Still hoping that somewhere in 2017 he can work his way up to a mid-card title. Don't rush it, though. Let it happen naturally. Sami Zayn should win one beforehand, I think. I think that he needs to go to SmackDown and win that Intercontinental title. But that whole trade thing seems to be out of the mix. And Sami Zayn is not going to have fun here, but he'll look good in the end. In the end, this is going to be a situation where Braun Strowman's going to look dominant. Sami Zayn's going to look like he was tough enough to put up a fight and withstand Braun Strowman's punishment. And they both walk away better off than they did beforehand. I think that this is going to be a good decision. We also have the Cruiserweight Championship match, a triple threat between Rich Swann, Brian Kendrick, and TJ Perkins. Very happy to see that all three of these guys are involved because they had that storyline with TJ Perkins still not getting that title shot with Brian Kendrick, and they needed to work that in the way somewhere, so this was a good way to do it. It's changing it up a little bit. We're getting Swann Kendrick again, but not quite. We're getting Kendrick Perkins again, but not quite. We haven't seen Swann and Perkins go together as far as I can remember, so that's going to be an interesting dynamic. And it's the two babyface and one heel sort of thing, so this could be one of the better matches of the night. I'm very looking forward to it. I think that Rich Swann is going to retain, which is not my favorite outcome. It's actually my least favorite outcome out of the three options. But you know what? I'll give him a little bit more of a chance before I completely roll him out. I am still kind of leaning towards Noam Dar is going to be the one to dethrone him down the line. And that could happen anytime within the next couple of months, but probably not until at least January or February. This isn't going to be the time. That's going to be too soon to be able to take that belt off of him. Either way, it should be a fun match. Cruiserweights are always fun to watch. They flip around, they do their crazy shit. You know, it's entertaining. The other time-sensitive match that we have going on is the Raw Women's Championship 30-minute Iron Man match. Still not sure why they're not calling it an Iron Woman match, but I guess that's a topic for another day. That's going to be Sasha Banks defending her championship against Charlotte Flair. And they are billing this as the last match between the two. That's the quote-unquote end-of-the-line match. And we're not going to see any kind of rematch clause if Charlotte wins, which is kind of making me think she will. I hate the idea that they would do Sasha Banks winning the championship from Charlotte on Monday Night Raw only to drop it at the next pay-per-view 3 fucking times in a row. But I didn't think that they would do it 2 times in a row. And this whole no rematch thing, that's really starting to make me think that we're going to end up getting that, because I think that Charlotte winning the championship from Sasha Banks and then moving on to a Bayley feud makes little sense compared to what I would rather have, which is Bayley in a feud with Emelina, and for Sasha Banks to feud with Nia Jax, and Charlotte to feud with Dana Brooke. Or, alternatively, even better than that, Emelina to be feuding with Sasha Banks, Charlotte with Dana Brooke, Bayley and Nia Jax, maybe a little bit, I don't know. I don't really want to see the Nia Jax stuff no matter what, but I'm just very concerned with the idea that Charlotte wins this here. I do not want to see her as champion again. I am so sick and tired of her character. I don't think that she's good on the mic at all. I think that she's worn out her welcome as champion for having it so long. I'm sick and tired of Sasha Banks crying over it. I want her to get her groove back and fucking be the Sasha Banks that she was in NXT. I want Sasha Banks as a heel champion dropping it to Bayley at WrestleMania. I don't want Charlotte involved in it whatsoever. And if we have her win the title here, she's definitely going to be involved. So I'm very skeptical. I think that there's going to be some kind of bullshit where Sasha ends up winning, and I'm going to be disappointed with Charlotte ends up winning, I should say, and I'm going to be disappointed with it. Although I'm hoping that they don't fuck Sasha Banks over and they let her retain. She needs to retain over Charlotte because she can't do this 3 times in a row. That's goddamn ridiculous. As far as the match quality goes, we've seen one 30-minute Iron Man match before. That was the Bayley and Sasha Banks one. And that one was really good. It wasn't as good as the match that they had in Brooklyn, but it was pretty damn good. I mean, that was the second best women's match that we had in God knows how many years. So there's a lot of potential here. But, then again, kind of sick and tired of seeing Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. And they already had their Hell in a Cell match. They've already had numerous other matches here and there. Do they really have 30 minutes worth of different stuff that they can do that's not going to be stuff we've already seen? I don't know. One thing I hope that they do in this match that we don't see that often, I want multiple pins. Multiple submissions maybe a DQ. I don't want this to be 0-0 until the last minute and somebody gets a pin and then they win. I don't want to see a draw where they end up having to go to a time limit breaker. I don't want to see 1-1 and then somebody gets the second one. I would much rather see, like, I don't know, 11-10 or something that we just haven't seen before, where they're getting lots of pins here and there. They know each other real well, and all they're doing is they're getting quick roll-ups, and it's like, oh damn, she got another one on her, and then Sasha gets some kind of a quick pin on Charlotte. She flips out. She gets herself disqualified, so now Charlotte's down by 2, but she beat the crap out of her, so she's able to get 3 pins in a row on Sasha Banks. Change it up a little bit from the formula. Don't do the we're so evenly matched we can't pin each other at all kind of bullshit. I think there's a chance Sasha retains. I think that there's a great chance that Charlotte wins. If Charlotte wins, I'm going to be annoyed. If Sasha retains, then I'll be happy about it. And I honestly have to say, I don't think it's going to be that great of a match. I'm very pessimistic about it, and I hope that they prove me wrong. But I just can't imagine that this is going to match up to a lot of people's expectations. I hope it does. I hope I'm wrong. Just saying, if I had to go right now, 10:30 in the morning, Tuesday, without knowing any other information that might come along the way over the next few days, I'm going with this being probably the most disappointing match of the night, other than Rusev versus Big Cass. So let's move on to Chris Jericho versus Seth Rollins. By the way, when I'm saying this is the most disappointing match of the night, you guys should know by now, this is not because it's the women's match. I really, really dig a lot of the women's matches that we've had over the past 2 years or so. So none of that crap of like, well, you're only saying that because it's the women. Fuck you. No, I'm not. Chris Jericho versus Seth Rollins. That is something that I'm also a little bit down on because I was hoping that it would have been for the United States title. It's kind of bugging me that we have the United States champion against the Universal champion and both titles aren't on the line. I know that they're not doing that because they don't want to have the titles unified, but it seems a little weird that the United States champion isn't defending his title. So I would have rather had Jericho win it. Or even Rollins to win it at that point, but probably Jericho more than him. The Jericho-Rollins situation is one of those matches where I'm a big fan of both those guys, and I guarantee they're going to have a good match. But I'm not too invested into it. it's something that I'm sort of just like, what's a good way to put it? Like, I know that it's only happening because it's a pay-per-view. And if this wasn't a pay-per-view that they needed to have these people on, of course they would have been involved in something because they're two of the bigger names. But this seems like it's like, well, we can't do any Triple H stuff yet. And we can't do the Jericho versus Owens match because we want to do that at the Royal Rumble. So let's just kind of switch things up a little bit. We've been having Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. So let's have Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho. And then, I don't know, Roman's going to fight Kevin Owens because we haven't given him a title match in a while. That's what it kind of feels like to me. So Jericho wins, doesn't matter. Seth Rollins wins, doesn't matter. I don't think that we're going to see Triple H involved whatsoever. I think that he's going to make an appearance at the Royal Rumble. He's going to be probably the reason why Seth Rollins is eliminated towards like the end of the Final Four. I do think that there's going to be something with Chris Jericho that he probably loses this match because of interference by Kevin Owens. And then that leads to the Kevin Owens match at the Royal Rumble. But Seth Rollins doesn't have to win this match either. And neither does Jericho. Jericho can lose this and get a title match. He can win it and get a title match. It's all up in the air. Either way, I think it'll be good. I don't think it'll be great. And I think it'll be better at least than the main event, the Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns Universal Championship match. As I said a minute ago, I don't really think that they know what they're doing with this. I don't think that they're paying attention to the fact that people are not going to cheer Roman Reigns over Kevin Owens. And it's going to backfire a little bit. It's going to look a little bit weird. There's going to be some kind of a dumb ending, I guarantee, because Kevin Owens is not going to get a clean pin over Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns isn't going to win the championship either. And since Roman Reigns, his title's not on the line, he can get pinned. So maybe Jericho does something. I don't know. I think he probably won't. I don't expect Triple H to get involved in this match by any means. Maybe Owens just cheats on his own. Maybe it's one of those dumb pay-per-view endings where it's like a disqualification and it ends at 10:30. I don't know. I got a weird feeling about it, though. I don't think anything crazy is going to happen. I think that this is going to be one of those roadblock, one of those pay-per-view events where we look back and we go, you know what? Roadblock was kind of blah. That was sort of a shitty way to end 2016. Hopefully I'm wrong. As I mentioned before with the women's title match and a couple other things. Ideally, this is one of the best pay-per-views of the year, and it's so awesome that we want to rewatch it immediately afterward. Just don't have a lot of faith in it. Not all that much. But I want to know what you guys have to say about this. If you are more on the positive side of things, then that's awesome. If you're more on the negative side of things, then either way, let me know what you guys have in your mind. What are your predictions for these matches? If there are any matches you think are going to be added to the card, drop those in the comments below as well. What do you think about my predictions? Am I too soft, too hard? Whatever the case may be. Make sure you also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Keep checking smarkoutmoment.com for anything more that'll be updated with the predictions over the next few days. If we add any more matches, that'll be the first time you'll be able to hear my full-on predictions for whatever those matches are. And as always, stay tuned Sunday night for the pay-per-view post-show. If there are any weird hiccups along the way as far as recording it, I will probably try to let everybody know in the Mega Maniacs group on Facebook ahead of time, but I'm not foreseeing any kind of problems. I think everything's going to be sorted out by then. So hopefully I'll be able to get that up as soon as possible after the pay-per-view. Hopefully I'll be able to get Kaylin and the rest of the crew involved. Kaylin's usually the main person who tends to join me on these pay-per-view post shows. Wago's always going to sleep and Drew's all over the place and Peyton's been off doing his own thing for a while. But at least if I can get Kaylin involved, because nobody was involved in this one and the hot tags and stuff like that, I will be trying to do my best. I know everybody's been leaving those comments on the feedback survey saying that they want to have less episodes that are just me. I fully agree. The episodes that are just me are totally not as fun as the ones where I can bounce back and forth with the other guys. The weird schedules, man, it's killing us. So keep that in mind, everybody. But that's going to do me in for now. I want to thank you all for listening to this and the other episodes throughout the week, and for all your support going on with smarkoutmoment.com. It's all greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very, very much. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and I'm being counted out.